When I was 7 years old, I wanted to be a Hasidic Jew. I remember saying, "Dad, I want my sideburns to look like curly fries." We all have big dreams. And all my cousins were these Orthodox Jews. And they were like, "Hey man, come with us to the Gog," which is like what the gangster Jews call the synagogue. And I was like, okay. So I went with them to the synagogue, and I walk in, and I just hear this amazing melody. It's this rabbi standing on the pulpit, reading from the Torah, and he's singing this song, "Vayomer Shmuel Elcham Lechu V'nelcha Hagilgal." And I didn't understand what that meant either. So I asked my cousin, I was like, "What's going on there?" He's like, "Oh, that's God, giving laws to the Jewish people, the laws that they need to live by." And I said, "I don't understand Hebrew. Can you translate that for me?" And he said, "Sure." So he brought me under his wing, and he started praying in English. "Don't have sex with your aunt, for she's your mother's sister. If she touches your penis, you will both be stoned to death. Don't fuck goats in the ass. If you fuck a goat in the ass, you'll be put to death. The goat will be put to death too. Because how awkward would it be if there was a goat walking around that everyone knew you fucked?" Thank you. Leviticus 4:17, everyone. Being a Jew is weird. I remember, we don't have Christmas, so during the holidays, my dad would send me a $20 bill and an autographed portrait of Charles Schwab, the investor. And it wasn't actually autographed by Charles Schwab, it was my dad forging Charles Schwab's signature. I could tell that because there were really specific notes, like, "Why would you buy a Sir Mix-a-Lot CD when you can buy a CD with compounding interest?" Charles wouldn't say that. That's not Charles. And my mom, around the same time, she was the guidance counselor at our elementary school. And I remember I got bullied a lot. I was a pretty chunky kid. And this guy was just having his way with me. And so my mom suggested that for conflict resolution, we use these I feel statements. It's the Midwest, by the way. So I remember going up to this guy, Igor, and I said, "Igor, when you call me a fat, faggy Jew, I feel hurt." And then this guy looks at me, and Igor's like, "Well, David, when you tell me you feel hurt, I feel validated." Because hurting your fat, faggy feelings was the point. Cool. Sound advice, mother. So this B- body has been a lot worse. In middle school, while little girls were hitting puberty and sprouting breasts, I was sprouting little hairs on my gigantic breasts. I had moobs, aka man boobs, and I wasn't even yet a man. Which means that I had child boobs, but that can't be the right phrase for it, so I googled child boobs, and don't Google child boobs. Don't do it. Don't do it. I'm on a watch list now. When I walk outside, there's always people like speaking into their lapels. So anyway, I asked my folks to take me to the doctor, and I go into the doctor's, and I take my shirt off, and I sort of explain my case. Well, they kind of explain themselves. And the doctor looks at me, and he's like, "Yeah, David, there is a condition when a little boy has little boobies. It's called gynecomastia. But in terms of a diagnosis, I think you're just fat." That was a copay my dad was pretty stoked to shell out for. A long ride home in the car. My mom driving, my dad looking out the window, thinking about the fact that he just paid $100 to be told his fat son has appropriately sized breasts for his fat body. And then to compound the sadness, I was wearing these fuchsia umbros, which revealed even the tiniest of boners, which were the only types of boners that I had. And then these red Sally Jesse Raphael glasses, picked out by the same guy that was sending me Charles Schwab portraits. When I finally, after many years, did find a female that was willing to mix it up with me, I remember that day very clearly. I remember taking off her shirt and seeing her mediocre body, which was at the time the most amazing thing possible. And then she took off my shirt, and I was wearing 5 more shirts. Because when you have a body like that, you need to basically put like half a load of laundry on yourself to hide like the pouty breasts and the stomach lapping over your Bugle Boy jeans. And my favorite part looking back on it now is that half of these shirts were like no fear shirts. How could anyone in good conscience even make a XXL no fear shirt? The guy putting it on is going to be pretty terrified, and then everyone else is going to be afraid that they're going to be sad on. It's Anyway, so back to this female. So she finally, sort of Russian doll style, got to the bottom of me, taking off layer after layer. And then it was just my bare body and her bare body. And she took my hands and put them on her breasts. And then she took her hands and put them on my breasts. And we shared a quiet moment together. And that was my very first lesbian experience. Thank you guys so much.